Hi guys, welcome back to At Home with Holly. My name's Holly. I'm so glad that you're here with me today. Today we are doing more garden cleanup. I've got my supplies. I borrowed my neighbor's hedge trimmers. I've got some crates, some buckets. Let's take a look at what we're getting into today. The major project is the asparagus bed. So when I first moved in, when I first built this house, I just had like 3 or 4 little beds there. And then I was like, let's keep going. So I kept going, and this originally was supposed to be the last bed. So I put the asparagus in here. That way they're not blocking anything, because after you harvest the asparagus, it becomes this. And so I kind of had thought, well, this is tucked in the corner. This is great. And then I thought, wow, this is just waste. Like the next year, I thought, well, this is just wasted space. So I put in this bed, and now this has become the last bed, which is a great bed for like growing corn or things, because it's a little like wind block in here. We get a lot of wind here, so this is like a wind block. But now the asparagus are not in the last bed. So even though you're not supposed to move asparagus, it's not recommended, you can move asparagus. So what I'm going to do, my plan is to mow it all down. There are 20 asparagus crowns in that bed. So my plan is to mow it all down, dig up the asparagus crowns, and move them to this bed, and then have this bed be something else next year, like another seasonal crop, but not going to be a perennial asparagus bed. So that is the goal, and I'm excited about it. But I usually cut that down every either winter or spring after they completely turn yellow. They're almost completely yellow, so it's fine. But I usually go in there with like loppers and do it like one at a time. And I thought, let's do the hedge trimmers this time to make it a little easier. So borrowed the hedge trimmers. We're just going to get in there and see what's going on. That's what we're going to do. I might pull out some of these nasturtiums that got hit by the frost last night, and I'll throw them to the chickens just to give me more room to get in there. I'm so excited that you're here, though. Let's get started. I don't know that they like nasturtium, so we'll see how this goes. Oh, they're eating it. So, you ever have those projects that in your head you think, oh, well, this is going to be easy. I'm just going to do X, Y, and Z and it'll be done? Yeah, this project, I think there's a reason why I had been putting it off for so long. So, the stalks were really woody and hard to cut through, even with the hedge trimmers. But I got them cut down, made a pile, and then I thought, this is too much. So I ran the mulcher part of I ran my mower over it and mulched up all like the frondsy things. And then I raked as best I could into a pile. Wasn't really shovelable. But I got them all into the wheelbarrow and then into the compost bin. And that part took about 40 minutes. And then once I was done with that, then I went back with the loppers and I cut off all the small tops that were still remaining even after I used the hedge trimmers. because I hadn't wanted to get the hedge trimmers too close to the irrigation lines and I didn't want to cut them. So anyway, I went back with the loppers and cut the tops off all of them. And then I decided to go in with a shovel. Now I knew that those asparagus crowns had rooted in, and I've seen videos of people trying to unearth asparagus crowns before, so I knew it wasn't going to be easy. However, I was unprepared for how matted the roots were. They were just a web of roots that were completely throughout the entire bed. And I started this project around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I got 2 crowns out by myself by 4:30 when my neighbors came over to help me. So I dug and dug and I clawed away at the soil with my hands. I scraped away with soil. I used the pitchfork. I did everything. I was using the loppers to cut the roots, trying to stay far away from the crown so that I didn't damage it. And after that 2 hours, I finally just went ahead and grabbed a Sawzall and I cut out squares around each crown, and then was able to hand dig out each individual crown. And even then, it took my neighbors and it took 5 hours altogether. Almost, I guess I started at 1:30, and so we were done at 6:30, and it was completely dark, and it was really hard work. So I am super glad that they came over to help me. I am super grateful that they all got moved, but this project was crazy intense. So I do recommend that you really think about where you're going to plant your asparagus crowns, because it is no joke to get them out of a happy spot in the soil. They had completely taken over that bed. I think I got all the crowns, but to be honest, I believe I planted either 20 or 21, and I lost count and was frustrated and was ready to give up. But my neighbors helped me push through, so I'm grateful for their help. But I don't know how many I planted. I don't know how many I gave away. But I'm hoping that all the crowns are out. If not, I will let them grow up in the spring. I will harvest the asparagus, and then I will go ahead and remove that crown after it's done for the year. But I'm hoping that I got all of them out, but there are thousands of roots still under the soil, so we'll just have to wait and see. This is what it looked like. This is after the time change, so this is at 6:30 at night. Even though it looks pitch black out, I've got all the crowns replanted except for the extras. And then I went ahead and mulched up some leaves and put it over the top, and then it rained all night the next night and watered them in. Okay, you guys, it's the next day. It's a little windy. That took forever. So you can see that I have extra crowns right here. I'm gonna post those on Facebook, free to whoever wants them. I had 21 original crowns in there, and that was way more than I needed and I could eat, so I was giving it away, all the excess every year, so this is gonna work out better. It took a very long time. It took it took me by myself 3 hours, and then my neighbors came over and they helped me get it all out. So it's all out. I have them replanted over here. I have them covered in leaf mulch, and they have been watered in because it's been raining all night. So that was a successful end to me moving. I gotta tell you guys, after like 2 plants, I was like, well, maybe this is where they live. It was really hard. They were very, very, very deeply rooted. Like the entire bed is just full of this matted roots. They were very happy in that bed, and I hate to move them, but long term they're going to be better over here. So anyway, that is a little more cleanup done, and now we just have to give away these crowns and put some irrigation back, blow out the irrigation lines, top off all of the beds with some compost, and then that will be it for putting the garden to bed. So I want to thank you guys for being here. Oh, it's windy. I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to thank you guys so much for the likes and the comments and the shares. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. We have a whole lot more growing and preserving and chickens and building projects. A lot more stuff to come this year and more in the future. So Can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye, my friend.